Hey there, how you doing? Charlie Winters here with horse racing selections for the Cheltenham Festival, day one for Tuesday the 10th of March. Well, very interesting card now. I delayed it until presenting these on Monday morning, ready for Tuesday, and I think some very interesting selections. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to talk you through briefly through every race, but all my selections for the entire day for Tuesday will be in the description and the comment section, because I've had that many. Because I'm going on the day, I always have loads of bets. So I've had some big prices, some huge prices. I've actually got a nap where I'm actually backing to win. What's that all about? So let me get into it. So the first race is the Supreme Novices Hurdle, and it's the 120 at Cheltenham. And I think, to be honest, I think this is the race to kind of test your luck. It's a very tricky race. You've got Nicky Henderson talking about Old Park Star. You can see he really likes the horse, but when asked a question, he didn't quite rate it in the same bracket as Altior and Constitution Hill. He said, and I paraphrase, Altior and Constitution Hill, on the day we went there expecting to win. Old Park Star basically it's a good horse, and they think it's going to run very well, but it's not in the same bracket as Altior and Constitution Hill. However, it is still a very good horse, but those two were, let's call them champions. So I'm looking for a little bit of value. So I'm trying to work out how the race might go ahead. So what I would like to see is, so my selection for the 120, the Supreme Novices Hurdle, is Sober Glory each way. I think this horse needs to go straight to the front. I don't think there's been many horses taking it on. Don't get me wrong, it will always be a pretty quick pace, adrenaline fueled to the first fence on the first race on the first day of Cheltenham. But there are quite a few horses where there are question marks. Like I mentioned, Old Park Star, pretty much the best form in the race. Mighty Park, nobody's got a clue about this horse. It beat Deadwood on its debut by absolutely miles. So we don't know anything about Mighty Park. Talk the talk. I'm sorry, but I just can't buy it. I just don't. Many people were impressed when it mugged Ballyfad on the line in Ireland. I thought it did well to get there, but it was very bad ground that day, and I'm just not convinced. And I'll be honest, JJ Slevin has never ridden a decent rider on any horse that I've backed with him on board in the past. I'm not hating, I'm just saying that I can't back JJ Slevin. So many times he's been in a promising position, and all of a sudden he's ended up shuffled back to near last, and I'm thinking, is he fast asleep? That's basically what I was thinking. So yeah, I just can't. It could quite easily fill the placings, but it's not. I wouldn't lay any of the first three, but I've got to try and look for a little bit of value. The fourth selection, I think, is more than capable of winning this race, but it's definitely quirky. I backed it when it ran on the National Hunt Flat in Ireland with David Maxwell on board, and I can remember I thought, God, this is absolutely cruising, and all of a sudden it swerved. Well, let's not forget there's going to be thousands of people at Cheltenham for the first day of the Cheltenham Festival. There's going to be a loud noise heading towards the final fence and also two out. It's got a problem with jumping the last fence at the moment. It hit, or should I say, it lunged for the day when it stayed on its feet. It lunged for the last hurdle, and the jockey pulled him up a bit, and the jockey blamed himself. Well, they're always going to do that. They're never really going to blame the horse. And then the time before, it fell at the last. I just think it's very easy to get distracted jumping at the last, and you've seen how many times in the champion hurdle you've seen Annie Powers come down, you've seen many come down at the last. I'm not saying it will come down, I'm just saying it's another quirk, or it's another question mark where I can avoid it. Don't get me wrong, any of the first four could easily fill the first four places. I just think there are reasons to avoid them. My Daddy Paddy, I think it's got an excellent chance. It travels really, really well. But it didn't find a great deal when it was beaten by Idaho's Son. It just stayed on to the line and was beaten quite comprehensively by Idaho Sun. Well, Idaho Sun isn't running in this race now. I was tempted to back Idaho Sun, but I'm quite pleased it's not running the race because I just couldn't see it winning this race. Yeah, so My Daddy Paddy was beaten. I just think My Daddy Paddy could be more of an Aintree horse. Travels ridiculously well. I'm just wondering, how well will it go up the hill? I don't know. It might absolutely fly up there, but I think it's also potentially avoidable. I haven't looked too much at Leader Dallier, so I'll skip that one. But Sober Glory, this is what I think could happen. I think this is similar to Mighty Park, to be honest. It's beat, I think they're also called Cadrostal, I think it is. Highly rated by the Skeletons. It beat it by something like 7 lengths, I think, the first time it beat it. Then beat it by over a distance the next time. I wouldn't read too much into the distance it's beat it by, because I think apart from that horse, it has beaten an awful lot of horses, similar to Mighty Park, that haven't done a great deal. But the further it goes, the better it seems to get. And I'm just thinking, Sober Glory, if it gets its own way in front, and I know that's asking quite a lot for the Cheltenham Festival, but they might just let it go on a little bit. Or once it gets to about the third or fourth flight, if it gets its rhythm, if we start seeing these cracks appearing on El Kairos jumping poorly, Talk the Talk possibly getting too far behind, Mighty Park being, well, I don't know what exactly what the quirk would be with that horse, because we don't know much about it. But it's the first time it's been on such a big stage. An Old Park Star may not be that good. It probably is, to be fair. It's probably a very good horse, but I just don't know how I would actually get it be. Maybe the occasion might just be too much for it. Then all of a sudden you might find Sober Glory with a sizable lead, with all of a sudden the fancied horses, the cracks beginning to appear. I know I'm beginning to hope a bit, but what I'm going to do is the bet will be placed with Sky Bet or anybody that is offering 4 places on this race, because I think anywhere from, I know I saw 10 to 1, it's currently showing 14 to 1 Sober Glory, but I do think potentially you could get some nice prices filling out the frame. So I'm going to go for Sober Glory to go straight to the front, stretch them out, ask questions of them, and I just think cracks will appear in some, maybe not all of them, some of the other horses, and I think we could at least get a place. I think 14 to 1 is a tasty price. So let's get on to the second race, and it's the 2 o'clock at Cheltenham, and it's the Arkle. So I've backed one horse to win. This isn't particularly the horse I was talking about in the intro. So this is the 2 o'clock at Cheltenham. So the bet I've had is, I've had a win bet, but I've also had a forecast, and I've gone for 2 outsiders in the forecast together with the horse I fancied to win. So I think the best way to look at this race is to try and turn it into a 2-horse race. So I'm looking at Kopek De Bordes and Lalamba. They do keep talking about Lalamba possibly being a Gold Cup horse eventually. Well, this is a 2-mile race, and don't get me wrong, it has got a lot of speed, and it probably will be a very, very classy horse, you know, like potentially a superstar in the next 2. It's got up to 5 years, really. It could well be running as a 10-year-old, so it's got quite a lot of time on its hands. I'm just thinking that Lalamba, a lot of people was impressed with it. Yes, it was, once it got its act together and the further it went. I'm just thinking that this may happen too quick for it. It might well stay on well towards the end, but I'm just thinking it's jumping, maybe put under pressure in this top class race. Excuse me. And I just think Kopek De Bordes, but I'm not just backing it to win. I have backed it, I believe, to win by 4 lengths or more at 100 to 30. I think I've had a tenner on it, right? So I'm not getting carried away. There's question marks over both of them. Kopek De Bordes, it could all be hype about its chase and what it's been doing since. They're saying it's been sparkling at home. We've heard it all before. We've all heard of this hype. And I think it probably adds quite a lot of value to the horse if it wins this race and it's based on hype, as in like everything else falls apart behind it. But I have gone for a forecast as well with 2 outsiders, as I said, that can be seen in the description and the first comments. Have a good trawl through them, because I put an awful lot of bets on, and I've got a few bankers, but Kopek De Bordes isn't a banker really. I've basically had a tenner on it at 100 to 30 to win by 4 lengths or more. Because what they tend to do, even if they're clear at the last, they always drive them out to the line. So you've either got horses stopping or you've got horses absolutely flying up the hill. So yeah, I do think that if it does win, it ought to win by 4 lengths or more. So now we head towards the handicaps, and this is the 240 at Cheltenham. This is the McLaurey Contractors Handicap Hurdle, also known or previously known as the Fred Winter. So clearly you're going to see a lot of JP McManus horses. It's a 2 mile race over hurdles, and I'm just going to briefly scroll you through, because I have added some fancied horses to my forecast and tricast. But what I'm going to do, I'm just going to quickly scroll down, so you can see my tip for the day in this race. So currently it's the first reserve. It is Munsif. And I find it quite ironic, really, sometimes, because there's so many question marks over this stable, the kind of integrity of the stable. Let's put it that way. So Munsif finished behind Saratoga. On its debut, it also came there absolutely cruising, only to be headed towards the line. This horse has got very good flat form on a sound surface. And I'm not talking good to firm hard, I'm talking good ground, even a bit of good to soft. So it's been running on yielding and also soft to heavy. It's only ran 3 times, as you can see. It's the most eye-catching run was probably its debut run over hurdles, but then it put up a very good performance, finishing behind a Gordon Elliott Triumph Hurdle candidate. Then Saratoga finished second and Munsif finished third. Munsif did, I'll be honest, it did fade that day, but it was keen. But as I said, I don't think it's currently got into the race, but there will be something I would have thought drop out to allow Munsif to get into this race. I do like the fact that it's not even got into the race yet, and it's actually only 8 to 1. Yeah, the bookies will be very concerned about this, because if it does get in, you've got an extremely well handicapped horse. You've got a horse that was very talented on the flat. I think it was rated in the low 90s, so it knows what it's doing. It was trained by Roger Varian, good engine on it. It will be sat more than likely mid-division, in my opinion, in this race. So I'm just going to scroll down a little bit further. So yep. So my tip is, as I said, it'll be in the description so you can easily in your own time have a good crawl through what my bets are. But I do also think that Nicky Henderson will have a say in this race. And I always think Faye Bramley, I think she's doing very well in the handicaps. As you're well aware, at Cheltenham, I think, was it around Christmas time? I did tip the outsider of a lot. I can't remember. I think it was called Glenugley, something like that. I think it was 25s or 22 to 1 outside the lot, ridden by Sambo and Maidall. And yes, I do also believe it was the same colours. She's got 2 runners in the same colours on the card today. And Winston Jr. won very well last time. I do believe that horse is also in my forecast and tricast. But as I said, all the bets are below. So let's go to the 320 at Cheltenham. So this is the 4th race on the Cheltenham card. It's a 3 mile 1 furlong race. It's the Ultima. So the Ultima is always an exciting race, in my opinion. I generally do quite well in it, surprisingly, and I don't know why, because it's such a difficult handicap. So Mayatan has got an obvious chance. However, it's in dreadful form, but it will be ready on the day. I'm just not convinced by its jumping currently. It jumped like an absolute stag last year in this race. However, it seems to, like, every so often commit itself to a fence and do an absolute howler. So I have gone for Jaguar. Before you say anything, I've gone for Jaguar, but I've gone for it in a forecast and tricast bet. If you scroll down, we will get to my selection. So I'm just having a scroll down. So I'm just, you will see, once again, as I said, all my bets below. So originally, and I'll make this very clear, originally, my nap of the first day, and it isn't anymore, was the short go. So originally, he ran in this race last year, never jumped a fence, but came 5th. However, I can't have the fact that he had a wind operation last time. I may live to regret this, but I do believe I've still included it in my forecasts and tricasts. But if this horse hadn't have had the wind operation, it would have been my, I won't say nap of the day, most interesting horse of the day. What I'm still going to do is at 18 to 1, I'm still going to have a small few quid on it, probably to win. There's no point backing each way because I've already backed horses in the race. So let me just scroll back up. So my pick for this race is Hyland. Hyland loves this course. It's got first time cheek pieces on, so that's interesting. But a lot of trainers actually do this now, first time headgear, just to sharpen the horse up on the day and make it concentrate a little bit more. This horse has got very decent form over this track, and it's offered a decent handicap mark now. It's offered one of its lowest handicap marks it's been off. And I think the Nicky Henderson stable, for me, it's been in the doldrums for the last couple of years. But I think he's just beginning to head in the right direction now. I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of Nico de Bourneville one bit. And I'm not jumping on the hate wagon with the Constitution Hill. It just never seems to ride a winner for me. Maybe I'm just picking the wrong horses. But yeah, Hyland, I think it's got an excellent chance. And Henderson has always done well in the handicaps. I just think it's got a decent chance. Take a look, because I have put more horses with it. I picked 4 selections in total in this race for forecast and tricast purposes. Let's go to the 4 o'clock. So this is the Champion Hurdle. What many would say is the main race on the card. However, yes, very classy horses. It's like the 100-metre sprint in the Olympics. All the talk is about the Champion Hurdle. However, it's such a tricky race. So they're offering 3 places only. It's a shame they're not offering first 4, but I think any bookmaker offering first 4 in this race would be, to be fair, an absolute mug, because any of the front horses can get beat. So you've seen my Cheltenham preview, not Cheltenham preview, my Champion Hurdle preview. I think Lossy Mouth is the most likely winner in this race, especially from the fancied horses. I can't have the New Lion. I've already explained why, but I just don't think it might be quite quick enough. But saying that, this isn't the strongest Champion Hurdle. And the third favourite, I don't think acts at Cheltenham. It was well beaten when it was beaten in the race when Constitution Hill fell and also State Man fell. Even though State Man badly hampered Brighter Days Ahead, the horse, Brighter Days Ahead, turning around the bend, it looked like it had got the race won. But the minute they turned around the bend, it virtually came to a standstill, even before the horses had got to it. And when you look at the horse, Golden Ace had caught it up. I think it was heading towards 2 out. Golden Ace was already looking to swamp Brighter Days Ahead, even before it had been badly hampered. I thought Brighter Days Ahead that day had the best chance of winning the Champion Hurdle for quite a while. And from 2 out, for me, it never put one leg in front of the other after just before jumping 2 out. So I couldn't touch that. But then again, if I'm going to and I'm not like bailing out, but what I would say is Gordon Elliott's stable is gradually heading into much better form, but I still can't have Brighter Days Ahead. Golden Ace will run its race, but you could expect it to come in the first 4, but who knows with Golden Ace. So my 2 in this race, the main bet is Poniros, 16 to 1. And then I've had Anzadam because I think these 2 horses will be absolutely flying up the hill. I think Poniros and Anzadam will be held up towards the rear. I believe these horses, 3 out, even before they turn the bend, will be absolutely tanking. But I think Poniros will be flying towards the finish, and I think it'll be picking off horses and Nova Fist. But I just don't know how good the horse is, because it's finished well beaten behind Lossy Mouth, obviously giving it weight, but it's still giving it weight in the Champion Hurdle. But I just think that the fact that it's kept them in, Poniros and Anzadam, maybe highlighting the fact that he's not convinced about Lossy Mouth still, Willie Mullins. Tutti Quanti should provide a decent test. That may break Brighter Days Ahead, because last year, Brighter Days Ahead, its stablemate made the run-in. And it looked like it had set the race up for Brighter Days Ahead, only for Brighter Days Ahead just to fade, turning for home. The new line, the race may be set up for it, but is it good enough? Will its jumping stand up? Don't get me wrong, it's only fell once, but it's still that fall could still be at the back of its mind. So that is a champion hurdle. So yes, Poniros and Anzadam. So I should tell you one of the bets that are in the description. I've gone for a pound combination forecast. Lossiemouth, Poniros and Anzadam. All the 3 Mullins horses. So that's a champion hurdle. So the 440. So we're now talking about my main win bet. I've had it each way as well. I've had it in each way doubles. I've had it in each way lucky 63. But my main bet, even little bits of odds and sods that I win or have returns throughout the day, I should be putting on McLaurey in the 440 at Cheltenham. I very rarely back horses to win at Cheltenham. I look for big prices with companies that pay for extra place races. So what I'm doing is McLaurey. So I'll talk you through it without clicking on the form. This horse has been on so many fast tracks over short distances. I'm talking 2 mile. This horse in its early career has been at Southwell and Worcester, and that's quite interesting for an Emmett Mullins trained horse. I believe this horse has been learning its job over a massively inadequate trip of 2 mile. Its sire is the Jukebox Jury, I believe the horse is called, renowned for horses 2.5 mile to 3 mile. So even the dam and the dam sire have quite a lot of stamina. I can't remember who they are off the top of my head, but we don't need to go into breeding about this horse. I shall state the obvious. So this horse, I believe it was its debut over fences, ran over 2 mile 6, ran a very good race, stayed very well. But after the 2 mile 6 run, it was then campaigned over 2 miles. Carried on running okay, nothing wrong really, but it was running over a completely inadequate trip. I believe they knew after that 2 mile 6 run that, yeah, we've got a horse that easily stays this 2.5 mile at Cheltenham. Let's keep it ticking over. Let's not get his handicap mark pumped up too much, because we want a plot job on the day. So they've kept it over 2 miles. When I say it's had tough races, it's been running over a trip that doesn't suit it at all. It's like, I'm just trying to put it into comparison. It's like Paula Radcliffe. Paula Radcliffe, you know, the UK one. I don't know if I've got international audience. I don't think I have. But Paula Radcliffe, renowned in the end marathon runner. It was like running her over 400 metres. Yeah, or you could probably even class it as what she used to do. Was it 1,500 or 3,000 metres that she used to run 5k on the track? She was always one of them runners that was up near the front. Her style was always with the head moving side to side, working really hard. But then when push came to shove, she'd get past quite easily. Don't get me wrong, she did very well towards the end of a track season, very hard to beat. But she was always up. She was always seen to be like the kind of pacemaker. Well, for me, McLaurey would always be going half a stride too quick, and could never quite get competitive. So yeah, it's finished down the field in most of its 2 mile races. It's now, interestingly, being stepped up to 2 mile 4 furlong, and then I think this is pretty much a plot job. I think it's extremely well handicapped. Emmett Mullins is ridiculously good at getting horses to turn up on the day at the best. He normally has the cross country chase. Yeah, he's always got something like the favourite in that race, and they always seem to run the race. Even throughout the racing calendar, he still has horses all over the UK that come here, and the bookies are very worried about them. They always start off close to favourite, and they always sometimes come with the head in the chest and win well. But I just think McLaurey has got an excellent chance. I'll be having little bits each way, but it's only 4-1. But you pretty much get a run for your money, where if it comes placed, you roughly get a bit less than your money back. But I do think this horse, out of the two horses that look like they've been plotted for this race, Madeira and McLaurey, I just think that McLaurey, it's a bit more under the radar than Madeira. Don't get me wrong, Dan Skelton is very good at getting these horses to Cheltenham, very well handicapped and at the peak of their performance. But I just think if you had to have a match bet, I would have McLaurey over Madeira. And what I will also say is, I think, just to put this in your diaries for the entire Cheltenham, I do believe that Gordon Elliott, Nicky Henderson and Mark Walsh, the jockey, will have an excellent Cheltenham. Maybe not just on the first day, but I have backed them to do well on the first day. But yeah, I just think that those three in particular will have a better Cheltenham than they've been having for quite a while. And finally, in the 520, please bear in mind that in the 440, I've also had forecasts and tricasts. I've had forecasts and tricasts in every single race, apart from the champion hurdle. No, sorry, apart from the champion hurdle, where they're not currently providing a tricast. So I'll probably put a trifecta on the tote in the champion hurdle with the same horses that I picked earlier on, which is Lossy Mouth, Poniros and Anzadam. But as I said, all the selections will be in the description and the comment section. So on to the final race. So I did mention McLaurey in the last race. I do believe there is also another plot job, and it is the same trainer, and it is in the 520 at Cheltenham, the National Hunt Challenge Cup, and I have gone for Backmeersackme. This horse has also been running for a lot of time over a shorter trip than today. I now think that this horse is dying out for this trip, or crying out for this trip, and it's bred to want it. And I think Emmett Mullins has targeted this race to perfection. Don't get me wrong, it's 4-1 again, and you're not going to get too many favourites winning at a competitive Cheltenham. But it looks like I have gone for what looks like the last two favourites. I have backed McLaurey to win. I backed Backmersackme to win, but I've also had them in a win double. I believe it was a win double, but it was only a free bet win double. I think it was a £10 free bet double. So if those two win, obviously it's a nice return. I have gone for an each way selection. If I can just remember what it is. Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah, another Nicky Henderson horse, Holloway Queen. I won really well last time. It hasn't got Nico de Boinville on board, so that is a benefit. This horse won really well last time. I just think there's an awful lot of Nicky Henderson horses just turning up at their peaks at the right time. It's a very switched on trainer. I think he's a very good trainer, but in the past, I've not really done very well with him. So, yeah, fingers crossed, because he does always seem to turn up on the big occasion, although he's been a bit inconsistent in the last few years. So those are all the bets for day one at Cheltenham. Let me know in the comments. I'm going to put all my bets, like I said, in the description and the comments. If you fancy something else, put your bets in the comments before the race. So, yeah, I wish the very best of luck. Charlie Winters, over and out. Cheers, mate.